do I weigh my food and do exact macros matter? Now, this is an interesting thing because the majority of my career, I never weighed a thing. I just eyeballed it, and I always did it myself. You know, I studied nutrition. I had my older brother to bounce things off of. He helped me, you know, for the majority of the beginning of my career. And we would just basically eat clean. I was very caveman about it. If I want to lose weight, I ate less. If I want to gain weight, I ate more. And I still adhere to that way of thinking. I try to keep it as basic as possible. And, well, once I was a pro and I decided, wow, I think I can kick some ass here. I think I could really be one of the better 202 or 212 pros. I started taking it a little more seriously, and that's when I started looking for help. I did a few shows in 2010 with George Farah, and the first thing he said is, bro, you need to weigh your food, you know. And I started weighing my food. And I noticed an immediate jump in my ability to hold size, hold fullness, you know. That's when I first started competing over 200 pounds. You know, my first year or two, I would weigh in at 193, 196. Finally, I was weighing in and struggling to make 202. And then eventually in 2012, I hooked up with Chris Aceto. And then I was struggling to make 212. You know, I would weigh in at 211 and a half. You know, after training for already 25 years, to make a jump, you know, 8, 9, 10 pound jump in stage weight is huge. And I attributed that to tons of GH. Well, this isn't, you know, it's not what you guys think. The food is what changed drastically. I started, you know, I was probably eating 5 or 6 ounces of protein per meal, and that jumped up to 10 every meal, 10 ounces. I was eating so much, I was like almost nauseous. And you know, prior to that, I couldn't wait to the next meal. I felt like I was starving all the time. Since I've been working with Chris, I'm really never ravenous. I'm never really starving. I get a lot of food per meal. You know, the last week or a couple of weeks when I'm really bringing it down, you know, I feel the diet, but my meals are always really big. It's a lot of food. And that was the major change in my ability to hold muscle, gain muscle. Now, you know, at the same time, my wife and I have been able to eyeball things a lot better because we know what 10 ounces looks like when you cook it every day, or, you know, you're preparing these meals every day. You know what 10 ounces is. All right, so this meal I had 9. And I'm fine with that because it's not 5. It's somewhere between 9 and 11 ounces. So we're able to eyeball it a lot better. We do have a kitchen scale, food scale that we use, you know, particularly when we're packing meals and bringing it with us. But when, you know, my wife cooks me a dinner, we're not going to pull out the scale. She'll eyeball it and put it on my plate, and it's usually pretty damn close. So yes, I measure my food in the sense that it's always within a certain range. But I'm also like, I like the idea of being what's the word? Instinctive, like using my own body's response to things. You know, if I'm starving, maybe I'll have a little more. If I'm not that hungry, maybe I'll have a little less. But yes, if you're a hard gainer and you need to grow, then you should weigh your meals. And just for shits and giggles, if you're someone who's always eyeballed your food, measure it. And I bet you're not eating as much as you thought. I certainly wasn't eating nearly as much as I thought I was eating. So it's very important to, it's an important tool to use to see where you're at. And if you're not eating enough, then yeah, weigh your food and make sure you're getting enough. So that's my thoughts on weighing the foods. I'm not a macro genius. I don't, so I got a lot of shit on Facebook for one of my videos because I said my typical day is this, 350 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs. That's a typical day diet. And then I went on to say, I diet off about 3,500 calories. Well, I should have said upwards of 3,500 calories because there are days where I'll have 2 muffins prior to training. I'll have 15 pieces of sushi afterwards. I'll have a carb shake after I train. The calories go through the roof when you're adding a ton of stuff. Instead of having a cup of oatmeal, I'll have or 3/4 of a cup of oatmeal. I'll have a cup and a half on high days. So it adds up really fast. But in general, when I'm in a groove, I really don't have to measure things. It just happens, and it works. It works for me. And when you've been doing it as long as I have, or even someone who's been doing it for 5 years or 10 years on a consistent basis, you'll be able to know what you're eating without 100% using the scale every time. But if you need it, weigh it, try it, let us know how it works. Alright, this is the Boston Mass. Thanks again for watching. Now, if you're not subscribing, subscribe now. Tell all your friends to subscribe. If you haven't, do it now. Alright?